Episode 3 kicks off with Hank having a dream about Thomas Friedman, who Cristobal mentioned in Episode 1 as he was trying to convince Hank to work with Esther. Cristobal mentioned Friedman's McDonald's theory. The more rational explanation of this phenomenon is that countries with McDonald's in them tend to be more economically developed and open to trade. Hank tells Friedman that you are bad at writing and nobody likes you. Hank then wakes up with a book on his chest as a henchman walks in and says Cristobal needs to talk to you right now. Hank eagerly gets out of bed and goes up to Cristobal, hoping while asking if something happened to Esther. Hank's plan backfired because he turns around and sees Esther standing right there. Cristobal then offers the safe house as a sanctuary for her crew. Hank and his men are forced to go stay in a storage unit. Now we pop in on Barry and Sally writing their stories. Both are struggling at the time. Barry is still struggling with the fact that he is lying to his classmates. He deletes a hilarious sentence, "The first time I killed someone was the best day of my life," and then frantically hits the delete button. Sally then tries to calm him, saying writing about her ex has been therapeutic. She's writing about how her ex was abusive, particularly when she stood up to him and left. Barry is just finding out about this and didn't know that she had an abusive ex-boyfriend. He worriedly asks, "He choked you?" He is not okay with this. Gene then goes to visit his son, trying to repair the relationship still. He offers his son a key to his cabin. Neither are okay with the idea of staying at the house that Gene's girlfriend was killed. His son says, "I don't want the cabin where your girlfriend was murdered. That's sick." At least Gene and his son are on somewhat of speaking terms. Back to Barry's apartment, where Sally is talking to her friend Beth about writing a scene about Sam. They are talking about the night she left specifically, but her friend has a way different memory of what happened. She says, "I remember you showing up to my house with welts on your neck, and then we went, he was sleeping on his couch, we got your stuff, and we got out of there." Sally then says, "No, don't you remember I said, you want to choke me, you coward? Well, choke on this. I'm out of here." Her friend does not seem to remember this. Back to Barry, who is now in his room, trying to change his story from the first time he took a life to the first time he saved a life. This is the common theme throughout the first 3 episodes. He is still having a hard time dealing with his past as he tries to move forward. He's having flashbacks about the war, and all of a sudden, a bullet goes right by his face and into the wall. He seems very confused by this. He hurries up and goes and grabs his guns hiding under his bed and looks out the window and sees Hank along with another member of the Chechenian mob. Barry ends up shooting Hank's partner and then quickly scurries out of the house to go and stop the situation before it gets worse. He could have killed Hank right in this moment. Hank even tells him to. He says, "Listen, I'm dead anyway." Barry decides not to because of their past relationship that they had. Barry even seems more mad at Hank for doing this while Sally was in the apartment than the fact that he actually tried to get Barry killed. Barry then tells Hank, "I cannot work for you anymore. I do not want to do this." Hank pleads with him to do something. He then says, "Just find another hitman." Hank comes back with, "What do you want me to do? Go to the John Wick Hotel?" He's trying to tell Barry that it's not easy finding someone as good as Barry is at doing his job. Barry then comes up with a compromise. He says he will train the Chechenians, but will no longer do hits for Hank. Hank gets very excited by this because he can then go back to being 50-50 partners with Cristobal. Barry even says, "Why not take it all for yourself?" Hank then starts dancing, saying 50-50 with Cristobal. All he wants is Esther out of the picture as soon as possible. Barry then runs back into his house and tries to clean up the room before Sally comes back in and notices. There are bullets in the wall and a lot of feathers everywhere from pillows getting hit by bullets. Sally walks in before he finishes cleaning, but she doesn't even notice anything. She's so wrapped up in the conversation she just had with Beth that she doesn't even notice. She's asking Barry to help her with her writer's block, as she just tried to help him. The two actually have a lot in common in this moment, as they are both telling untruths about their stories. Sally didn't really stand up for herself like she claims, and Barry enjoyed the killing, which is why he's trying to change the scene to the time he saved a life, not took a life. We get to the scene where Barry is training Hank's army. No one knows what they're doing, and Hank says, "How long until we're a good army? 2 to 3 hours?" One person in particular in Hank's crew that actually has a bit of talent. He's hitting shots and he looks like he can be a good assassin. Back to the acting class. Sally and Jean both want Barry to play Sally's abusive ex, Sam. Barry does not like this idea. He keeps thinking about the moment where Sally said she will never be with an aggressive man ever again. He is really struggling with the idea of being violent towards Sally. He's already so pissed off at the fact that she was in an abusive relationship in the past. He is then pushed too hard by Jean and Sally to do the scene, screams "fuck off," and runs out. Sally chases after Barry and tries to apologize for pushing him too hard into something that he does not want to do. All of a sudden, Sam, her abusive ex-boyfriend, shows up and says hello. Suddenly, Barry looks like he wouldn't mind killing again after all.
Thank you for watching this recap. If you do not see the next one up in the corner right there on the end screen, don't worry, it'll be up shortly. Please consider following the channel. That'd be cool. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. And if you don't, there's a thumbs down button for a reason.